Blessed Sunday morning to you all. Today, this is something that we need to discuss and bring awareness. I did a video a while back about the safety concerns at Chicago Correctional Center, and another inmate has died, and so we as supporters and Robert's attorneys needs to address the concerns of Robert Sylvester Kelly's safety at that correctional facility. Robert has not been found guilty of anything. He is sitting in a jail waiting for trial, and he has the right to be out of an unsafe prison so he can prepare for his trial in the safety of his own home. So I think as supporters and his attorneys, we should make this very, very vocal. We should be very vocal, and we should raise awareness and express the concerns of Robert Sylvester Kelly's safety inside of this dangerous facility. They are low in staffing. So when a person is low in staffing and they're overworked, they're not mindful of anyone else. Their brain is not functioning right because they're tired. So we need to get this out there because the media is putting out negative things on Robert right now, and it's making it more dangerous for him to be in there. So we need to get serious right now, and we need to make this known that Robert Sylvester Kelly has not been found guilty before a judge and a jury. He is sitting in there just waiting for trial. He has the right to be at home in the safety of his own home to prepare for his trial, not into a dangerous facility. And we need to express this to the judge. Need to file a motion because of this lifetime fiction is making it more dangerous in all the jails right now. So Robert needs to be at home preparing for his trial, safe. So thank you guys. I left the news clipping in the video that I did prior before. So watch those and let's make awareness of this. You guys have a blessed Sunday.
We have learned an inmate at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Chicago has died after his throat was slashed. Officials confirmed the death at the federal prison in the Chicago Loop, but they're not releasing any details just yet or any information about the identity of that inmate.
Chicago, the facility is down 20 officers and more are expected to retire soon. NBC5's Charlie Wojciechowski's in the control center with more for us. Charlie.
Mary, and the suicide of accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein focused new attention on the issue of staffing at federal prisons. The president of the American Federation of Government Employees, which represents 30,000 prison employees nationwide, says the same pressures faced by the facility in New York are present here in Chicago. It is a federal prison in the heart of the Loop, the Metropolitan Correctional Center, or MCC. The union that represents the correctional officers here says staffing is at dangerously low levels.
We have a system that's stressed system-wide, particularly here at MCC.
AFGE National President Eric Young says the MCC is down approximately 20 officers.
The risk is you actually put the community at risk, and by MCC Chicago being in a downtown area, for example, we had an escape here.
In 2012, 2 convicted bank robbers tied bed sheets into a rope and shimmied down the side of the building. Another looming problem, retirements. For some employees, the mandatory retirement age is 57. For others, they can retire as early as 50 with 20 years of service.
We have also 20 or 30 that's also eligible to retire by the end of this year.
So there's a crisis looming.
It is a crisis, and I could almost guarantee you many of those individuals will go because of the constant perpetual state of overtime.
And Young worries that could create a situation similar to the MCC in New York, where Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide.
We also have another high-profile inmate that's actually incarcerated here at MCC, R. Kelly, the R&B rapper, who's facing similar accusations like Mr. Epstein. So the system is not set where we could literally give him a 24-hour monitor.
But Under Attorney General William Barr, Young says a new round of hiring has begun. Still, it could be months before the facility is back up to full staff.
And you have to remember who we have incarcerated at our facilities: enemies, foreign and domestic, terrorists, murderers, gang leaders as well. So I definitely know that you want us to be hiring the right individuals to supervise those individuals.
Alan, this problem has not caught the Bureau of Prisons off guard. It's been percolating for 15 years. The Metropolitan Correctional Center, known as the MCC Chicago, is one of many facilities across the country understaffed, and now some employees say putting lives on the inside and the outside at risk.
When you go and dump the bad individuals from all around the country into one place, and that's what we call MCC Chicago.
Here at the federal lockup in Chicago's Loop, veteran corrections officer Eric Young says employment comes at a high price, driving officers away, discouraging new hires, and killing some.
You're talking about one officer working around an average of 130 offenders who literally could snuff the life out of them. And a lot of people don't realize that the average life expectancy for a correctional worker is 57.
Dying at age 57 is almost 22 years earlier than the U.S. average.
There's a study that was recently published that stated correctional officers system-wide have more greater PTSD than soldiers coming back from both the Iraq and the Afghanistan war.
Young just wrapped up as president of the Council of Prison Locals, which represents 30,000 federal employees in the Bureau of Prisons. He says staffing issues began in 2004.
We never kept up with the pace of hiring as the population was increasing. So if you have the bare minimums, now the safety in the community is at risk.
Catherine Weaver served as MCC Chicago warden and ran MCC New York. Now she's retired from the Bureau of Prisons.
The culture has always been that no one goes out and recruits for these jobs until the person actually walks out the door. We can't do that anymore. It takes too long to go through the background investigations.
MCC here in Chicago has eligible about 20 to 30 people right now that are eligible to retire on an already vacant roster of down 20 officers.
MCC administrators declined our request for an on-camera interview, but provided these numbers to the I-Team. As of last week, 200 of 208 authorized staff positions are filled. The MCC says it's 93% staffed, up 7% from 2 years ago, and the institution is actively staffing its vacant positions. Officials did not answer our question regarding how many employees have indicated they plan to soon retire. Union officials tell us that number could be as high as 30.
So by the end of this fiscal year, they literally could be walking out the door.
Whether those practices and staffing issues figured into the recent death by suicide of Jeffrey Epstein at New York's MCC are under investigation.
As we analyzed the personnel who were there, one of them had been on overtime, I think 5 straight days, and may have been worn down by it, and another was not necessarily trained for that particular responsibility. The net result was this man took his life.
To beef up staffing, the Bureau of Prisons is offering a recruitment bonus for correctional officers hired at 19 prison locations, including the facility in Thompson, Illinois, near the Quad Cities.
We're going to be in a better position to get the right ratio of correctional officers to inmates.
Senator Dick Durbin says he hopes incentive hires will help eliminate the practice of what's called augmentation in prisons,
where someone who perhaps is working in the teaching facility at a correctional institution has to fill in for an actual correctional officer working with inmates.
Putting people in to replace them, a teacher, a secretary, a cook, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have that same proficiency as that correction officer.
The Bureau of Prisons tells the I-Team the safety of staff, inmates, and the public is the highest priority for the Bureau of Prisons. The agency says so far this year, more than 2,000 new hires have been made nationwide. They still have a way to go.
And let's pray for all that's dealing with that facility, the employees, the prisoners. Let's pray for everyone's safety. Let's pray for the ones that's lost. Let's pray for their families as well. Thank you guys for tuning in for Texas Black Diamond Entertainment. And you guys have a blessed Sunday.